There is a specific kind of tired that has nothing to do with sleep. You work hard, you read the books, you put in the grueling hours while the rest of the world is dreaming. And yet the financial breakthrough you were promised never seems to arrive. It feels as though you are driving with the emergency brake pulled tight. I am here to tell you a truth that will change everything. This is not a lack of effort on your part. You do not have a motivation problem. You have a programming problem. Deep within your subconscious mind sits an outdated script. It runs on a continuous loop while quietly sabotaging every conscious step you take toward wealth. It was designed to keep you safe instead of making you rich. And this is exactly why your financial goals always seem to slip through your fingers at the last second. Until you rewrite it, your empire will collapse. If I asked you what it takes to build generational wealth, what would you say? Endless hustle, relentless networking, the perfect business idea? You have been lied to for your entire life. Society teaches you to burn yourself out chasing money. And this is exactly why millions of men work themselves into an early grave and still die broke. The titans of industry knew a completely different law. Wealth is never chased. Wealth is magnetized. It is the natural and inevitable byproduct of a mind operating on a specific frequency. You do not get what you want in this life. You get exactly what you are. And until you elevate the energetic signature of your dominant thoughts, no amount of physical labor will make you rich because your internal receiver is completely shut down. Stay with me today. I will show you how to tune your mind to abundance. You feel the heavy burden of generational financial struggle. You carry a physical disadvantage that makes you feel the deck was stacked against you from birth. You experience constant mental fog and anxiety around bills. This blocks the intuitive ideas and sharp decision-making that the elite naturally possess, and it leaves you stranded in a cycle of endless survival while others effortlessly thrive. You know, deep down you are meant for greatness, but you feel your internal wealth magnet has been forcefully switched off by the relentless stress of modern survival. The gap between your current bank account and the life of the 1% is not a lack of hustle. It is not poor financial planning. It is a dormant piece of anatomy that the elite are born with, while you are left in the dark, wondering why your hard work never pays off. Before we dive deeper, I want to plant a seed in your mind. There is something hidden from the public. It is something discovered not in a motivational book, but inside a classified laboratory. It is a biological secret funded by elite billionaires and verified by top-tier neuroscience, and it finally explains the frustrating gap between the wealth you visualize and the reality you wake up to. I will reveal exactly what this is before we finish today. But first, you must understand why the financial deck was stacked against you. So hold this question in your mind. What if your struggle to attract abundance is not a lack of hustle, but a dormant frequency waiting to be switched on? This single question is the key to unlocking your true potential as a creator. Think about the exhaustion that sits on your shoulders right now. It is the weight of carrying an invisible survival wave. Every time you stress over a bill, your brain is actively broadcasting poverty. Your mind is trapped in a defensive state. It constantly scans the horizon for danger instead of scanning the horizon for massive opportunity, because it is biologically wired to keep you alive rather than making you wealthy. This is how the system keeps the masses completely powerless. They will call you lucky when you finally break out. They will say you had an unfair advantage. They will look at the empire you are building and assume it was handed to you on a silver platter. But they will never see the silent hours. They will not see the nights you went to war with your own self-doubt. They will never know the mornings you dragged yourself out of bed with a burning vision while they chose to remain comfortable in their ordinary lives. There are two kinds of men in this world: the consumer who lets society dictate his fate, and the creator who forces reality to bend to his absolute will. You are watching this because you belong to the latter. You have felt the call to greatness, but you do not yet know how to structure it. Prepare yourself today. You are about to step fully into your raw power. Society is designed to keep you drifting. The educational system trains you to follow orders. The corporate ladder trains you to trade your irreplaceable time for a fraction of what you are worth. and the media floods your subconscious with fear and panic. They need you to remain a drifter who is easy to manipulate and control, but a sovereign commander of his own mind is terrifying to them. You have attempted to manifest wealth. You have written your goals on paper. You have stared at vision boards until your eyes hurt. But the money never materialized. You watch the 1% attract money and opportunities with zero apparent effort. You know deep down that the work hard and get rich advice is a complete lie, and you are finally ready to discover the scientific truth. What if your financial struggles are not your fault? What if being locked out of the life you deserve is simply a biological block? You are attempting to manifest wealth while your internal receiver is completely powered down. You end up chasing money endlessly, while the elite simply let the wealth flow to them effortlessly. They do not break a single sweat to multiply their gold because their brains are already broadcasting on the frequency of absolute abundance. This biological block is passed down from generation to generation. It quietly sabotages your highest potential before you even wake up in the morning. Most people will go to their graves believing they just did not work hard enough. But you are the architect of your own destiny who is finally ready to confront this invisible enemy. You will not surrender. You will take command. Listen to me very carefully. You cannot outwork a misprogrammed subconscious mind. You can grind for 80 hours a week. You can skip sleep and sacrifice your health. But if your internal frequency is tuned to scarcity, you will only ever attract more scarcity into your physical reality. It is a universal law. The universe does not give you what you want. It gives you a reflection of what you are. To change the reflection, you must change the source. You must stop attempting to manipulate the outside world. The outside world is just a shadow of your internal programming. When you finally take dominion over your mind, the shadows will automatically rearrange themselves. Wealth will stop being a distant dream and become an inevitable physical reality, and you will finally realize that everything you ever wanted was waiting for you all along. Let us begin. There is a universal law that governs every single dollar in your bank account right now. It is exact. It is unforgiving, and it operates with absolute precision whether you choose to believe in it or not. The drifter ignores this law and spends his entire life complaining about his terrible luck, but the Creator studies it. He masters the mechanism, and he uses this hidden knowledge to build a massive empire out of thin air. You must understand the dual nature of your own brain. Right now, your mind is broadcasting one of two very distinct frequencies. It is either transmitting a survival wave or it is broadcasting a powerful creation wave. They absolutely cannot exist in the same space at the exact same time. You cannot feel deep anxiety about your rent and simultaneously attract massive wealth into your life. The two states completely cancel each other out. The masses live exclusively in the survival wave. They wake up stressed. They commute in total frustration. They go to sleep worried about the bills they have to pay tomorrow. This is the exact reason why the drifter works himself to the bone but remains completely broke, because his physical body is working while his energetic signature is actively repelling money at every single turn. He is fighting an invisible war he can never win. Stop what you are doing and listen to me. This is where the truth becomes highly uncomfortable. You have been taught that your financial struggles are purely psychological. You think you just need a better mindset. You falsely believe that reading one more self-help book will finally fix your completely broken bank account. But the reality is far more terrifying than a lack of knowledge. Your ultimate problem is entirely biological. Here is the brutal truth the elite do not want you to know. Deep inside your brain is a tiny walnut-sized region called the hippocampus. In the insanely wealthy, this region is thick and highly developed. It constantly broadcasts a microscopic frequency that literally pulls money and lucrative opportunities toward them like a giant vacuum. They do not force success. They simply allow their restored brain to attract it. But for the average person, the reality is much darker. Because you were not born into an 8-figure family, you inherited a severe biological disadvantage. Science calls it a shrunken hippocampus. Instead of broadcasting a high-level wealth frequency, your brain is trapped broadcasting a desperate survival wave, and the modern world is heavily designed to keep it exactly that way while you exhaust yourself. Every time you stress over a bill, this tiny region shrinks a little more. Your natural God-given ability to attract abundance is pushed deeper and deeper into permanent dormancy. This is why you can practice the law of attraction for years with absolutely zero results. You are attempting to manifest massive wealth while your internal receiver is completely powered down. You end up chasing money endlessly, while the elite simply let the immense wealth flow to them without breaking a single sweat, because their brains broadcast on a different frequency. Remember the question I asked you to hold a few minutes ago? I asked, what if your immense struggle to attract abundance is not a lack of hustle, but a dormant frequency waiting to be switched on? You are about to see that the answer is scientifically proven. It is a biological block passed down from generation to generation. Most people will go to their graves believing they just did not work hard enough. You are not most people. You are the architect of your own destiny. And you must realize that the massive gap between you and the billionaires of the world is a physical piece of anatomy. They operate on a completely different brainwave. While you are grinding for pennies, they are effortlessly receiving millions. They do not hustle harder than you do. They are simply tuned to a much higher energetic station. Write this down in your mind. The universe does not reward sweat. It rewards frequency. You can dig a ditch for 12 hours a day and you will still be entirely poor. Physical labor without internal energetic alignment is just a brutal form of punishment. The 1% understand this universal law perfectly. They fiercely guard their mental frequency with their lives because they know it is the ultimate source of all their gold. Think of your mind as a giant radio tower. A shrunken hippocampus is like a radio tower covered in rust and transmitting on a broken frequency. You are trying to desperately tune into the wealth station, but all you hear is endless static. The billionaires have polished their towers to absolute perfection. They transmit a crystal clear signal of absolute abundance, and the universe responds by sending them endless lucrative opportunities. So the question you must ask yourself right now is profound. What do the elite billionaires know about fixing this broken biological receiver that you do not? How do they keep their hippocampus thick and powerful while the rest of the world shrinks under the terrible weight of constant financial anxiety? They possess a deeply guarded secret. It is a biological mechanism that has been quietly hidden for centuries. The drifter completely refuses to believe in hidden secrets. He thinks the wealthy simply got lucky or ruthlessly cheated the system. He wraps himself in the comforting blanket of victimhood. He cries that society is unfair and the entire system is rigged against him. The system is rigged, but it is only designed to keep your survival wave active so you remain a quiet and obedient worker for the rest of your natural life. Hear me closely now. You must take absolute responsibility for your own frequency. The exact moment you blame your boss or the crashing economy for your empty bank account, you give away all your power. A sovereign commander never blames the chaotic battlefield. He analyzes the terrain, he aggressively masters himself, and then he conquers the enemy without a single complaint. You must stop waiting for a savior to hand you a bag of money. The true transformation begins the moment you finally realize your brain is a tool. It is an instrument of immense physical creation, but right now it is being played by the wrong musician. The media plays your brain with constant fear. Your mounting debts play your brain with overwhelming panic. You must aggressively fire these outside influences. You must step up and become the only master of your internal instrument. When you finally understand how to repair this biological damage, everything shifts. The heavy fog of exhaustion completely lifts from your tired shoulders. You finally stop forcing things to happen. You start making brilliant decisions with a cold calmness that frightens average men. Opportunities that were completely invisible to you yesterday suddenly appear right in front of your face. This is the raw power of a fully restored mind. But how do you actually fix it? How do you awaken a piece of anatomy that has been dormant since the day you were born? You cannot do it by simply thinking happy thoughts. You cannot wish a shrunken hippocampus back to vibrant health. There is a precise biological mechanism required to break the survival wave and force your brain to broadcast wealth. And the elite have spent massive fortunes attempting to hide it from you. Let us look to the example of Thomas Edison. He did not simply work hard in a laboratory to change the entire world. He tapped into a hidden mental frequency. He famously used a technique to hold his brain in a very specific state between wakefulness and sleep. He knew that the conscious mind was severely limited. And he understood that true genius only flows when the biological receiver is perfectly tuned. Edison was not alone in this profound understanding. Leonardo da Vinci spent his entire life trying to unravel the mysteries of this exact internal brain power source. Ancient spiritual leaders taught about an internal frequency that siphons wealth into your life like a giant vacuum. They did not have the neuroscience to explain it, but they knew the physical law was absolutely real and undeniable. The drifter hears these historical accounts and dismisses them as pure myths. He thinks Edison was just a lucky genius and ancient wisdom is just a fairy tale, but the sovereign commander knows better. He knows that history leaves massive clues for those who are willing to deeply look. And today, modern neuroscience has finally caught up with what these titans knew centuries ago. Before we go any further, I have to share a breakthrough that changes absolutely everything. This is something the elite billionaires have spent vast fortunes to keep hidden from the public. They heavily profit from your endless hustle and your constant financial anxiety. A rogue neuroscientist, formerly working on classified CIA experiments, recently leaked a deeply shocking discovery. He and a team of top-tier researchers found a way to wake up that dormant wealth frequency. They discovered a proven method to rapidly reverse the effects of a shrunken hippocampus, and they did not do it through decades of exhausting meditation or waking up at 4 a.m. to force a hustle mindset. They discovered something infinitely simpler and far more powerful. They discovered a precise and perfectly engineered 7-minute sound frequency. When listened to, this specific acoustic wave totally bypasses your conscious mind. It directly stimulates that tiny dormant region of your brain while you simply relax. 4 independent neuroscience labs have already verified this profound mechanism. And researchers on the campuses of Harvard and Yale are observing this exact brainwave activation right now. They found that once this specific frequency is heard, it forces the brain to completely stop broadcasting the survival wave. It immediately flips the switch on your natural biological ability to attract massive wealth. It is a completely effortless at-home ritual. You only need 7 minutes a day, and the energetic shift begins the very first time you listen. Your receiver comes back online. I will tell you exactly what this acoustic protocol is called before this message ends. And I will show you exactly how you can access this frequency for yourself. But first, there is one final piece of the puzzle you must understand. You must realize why the law of attraction has been completely failing you all these years. You have been building a massive house on a broken foundation. You see, the conscious mind is incredibly loud and extremely arrogant. It thinks it controls your reality. You read a book, and your conscious mind decides you are going to be rich. But your subconscious mind is a tireless contractor who builds exactly what you instruct it to before sleep. If your hippocampus is shrunken, your subconscious is constantly receiving a poverty blueprint. You cannot force wealth with a damaged biological receiver. This is the ultimate paradox of the hard-working drifter. The harder he works, the more stressed he becomes. The more stressed he becomes, the more his hippocampus shrinks. The more it shrinks, the louder his survival wave broadcasts into the physical universe. It is a vicious cycle of poverty that completely destroys ambitious men. The elite 1% completely bypass this brutal trap. They do not rely on sheer willpower to become successful. Willpower is a finite resource that runs out by the end of the day. Instead, they rely on true biological alignment. They use scientific mechanisms to hold their brain in a state of absolute abundance, and the universe simply rearranges itself to match their internal physical state. You think you are losing your mind because you constantly struggle while others effortlessly succeed. But here is the truth no one tells you. You are not losing your mind. You are simply fighting a biological war without the proper weapons. You are bringing a wooden sword to a modern battlefield. The drifter will complain about the unfairness of the brutal fight, but the creator equips himself. The universe works by law and not by a clock. It does not care how many hours you work this week. It only cares about the frequency you are actively broadcasting right now. If your signal is weak, the wealth will simply bypass you and find a stronger receiver. Every single thought is a seed and every action is water. But your biological frequency is the soil that determines the harvest. You must become fiercely protective of your internal energy. From this moment forward, you are the ultimate gatekeeper of your mind. You must ruthlessly cut out the chaotic noise of the ignorant masses. You cannot afford to entertain fear or doubt for a single second. Your brain is a highly sensitive instrument of creation, and you must guard it with the cold calmness of a sovereign commander. The masses wait for a sudden miracle to save them. The 1% use a specific scientific instrument to literally force the miracle to happen. You now know the mechanism exists. You know that a shrunken hippocampus is the root cause of your financial struggle. And you know that a 7-minute acoustic frequency can permanently reverse the damage. The choice is rapidly approaching. You will soon have to decide if you want to remain a victim of your biology or become the master of your fate. But before you receive the ultimate tool, you must prepare your mental temple. You must learn the exact ritual to clear the destructive noise from your mind. Prepare yourself for the next crucial step. Your ultimate transformation requires absolute discipline. Now we are getting close to the thing you can actually do. You know the biological mechanism is broken. You know the elite use a highly guarded acoustic frequency to force their brains into absolute abundance. But you cannot pour pure gold into a filthy vessel. Before you activate this powerful protocol, you must perform what the masters call cosmic housekeeping. You must become the ruthless mental gatekeeper of your own mind. Stop what you are doing and listen. Truly listen. If you want to walk with the 1%, you must immediately kill the habits of the 99%. You cannot watch the news for 2 hours and then expect to manifest wealth. The media is a highly engineered virus designed to shrink your hippocampus. It feeds you endless fear, so you remain a paralyzed consumer. Cut it out of your life entirely. You must guard your attention like a sovereign commander guards his sacred fortress. You might feel lonely when you stop engaging in the chaotic drama of your old friends. You think you are losing your mind because you no longer relate to their constant complaints about being broke. But here is the truth no one tells you. You are not losing your mind. You are finally losing your destructive programming. This profound loneliness is actually a paradoxical sign of massive biological evolution. It means you are shedding the heavy survival wave of the ordinary drifter. The drifter constantly vibrates with lack. He checks his empty bank account and feels a crushing wave of panic. But the creator responds with cold calmness. He looks at failure and simply calls it data. When you panic over a bill, you send a massive shock of stress straight into your brain. You actively shrink your wealth receiver and forcefully push the money away. You must act as if you already hold the empire in your hands, even when your pockets are completely empty. Now, let us make this practical. You must establish a sacred night ritual starting tonight. Your subconscious is a tireless contractor who takes his final orders right before you fall asleep. If you go to sleep stressing over your crushing debts, your mind spends the next 8 hours building a reality of absolute scarcity. You literally program your own failure while you rest. This is a massive mistake you will never make again. For 15 minutes before sleep, you must disconnect from the entire world. No glowing screens and absolutely no toxic conversations. You sit in total silence and you take back your power. You write down your definite chief aim on a physical piece of paper. You state it aloud with the absolute authority of a king. Let the physical vibration of your own voice begin to rewrite the broken architecture of your weary mind. You command the universe instead of begging it for a tiny favor. This is simple but highly demanding. Do you have the discipline to shut out the noise? Most men do not. Most men will hear this timeless wisdom and go right back to scrolling on their phones. They will choose the comfortable numbness of a drifter over the heavy crown of a creator. But you are not most men. You would not have made it this far if you were destined for a life of quiet desperation and endless poverty. Your spirit knows you are meant to build a massive empire. But here is the ultimate trap of the mental gatekeeper. You can do the night ritual perfectly. You can cut out the toxic news and stand in cold calmness. But your conscious discipline is still fighting against decades of severe biological damage. Your shrunken hippocampus is still buried deep inside your brain. It is quietly resisting your new commands because it is physically wired for survival. Willpower alone will never be enough to permanently fix a broken biological receiver. You need the proper mechanism. You need a tool that bypasses the exhausted conscious mind and goes straight to work on the physical tissue of your brain. You must prepare the vessel, but you also need the precise spark to ignite the engine. The elite do not rely on sheer effort to stay wealthy. They use proven scientific instruments to automatically tune their frequency while they relax. They work smarter on a biological level while the masses grind themselves to absolute dust. I told you earlier about a specific 7-minute acoustic protocol. I told you about the rogue neuroscientist and the leaked CIA research. This is not a magic pill or a cheap trick. It is a highly advanced reprogramming tool designed for the visionary who has already done the inner work. It is built for the man who is ready to accelerate his results and completely shatter the invisible ceiling holding him down. You have prepared the temple. Now you must install the powerful frequency. Listen to me carefully. The wealth you have been praying for is already circling you right now. The massive opportunities are already in your path. The blessing is not missing at all. Your biological receiver is simply broken. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, you will either repeat the exact same cycle of exhaustion or you will finally flip the switch. The choice is rapidly approaching and hesitation is the absolute death of destiny. You must say to yourself that you are done playing small. No more playing the victim to circumstances. No more letting fear write the pathetic script of your life. That dark chapter is completely over. A new chapter begins with a massive decision you are about to make. The tool used by masters to lock in this frequency is waiting to be revealed. Prepare your mind for the final command. The era of the drifter ends tonight. The question I asked you to hold at the beginning of this message is finally ready to be answered. What if your financial struggle is not a lack of hustle, but a dormant frequency? Here is the ultimate scientific truth. A microscopic wealth attraction frequency is naturally active in the 1%. It is driven by a thick and highly developed region of the brain called the hippocampus. Classified CIA research confirmed this exact biological phenomenon. 4 independent neuroscience labs absolutely verified it. Researchers on the campuses of Harvard and Yale are observing this exact brainwave activation right now. Dr. Thomas Summers is a rogue neuroscientist who formerly worked on these top-secret experiments. He refused to let elite billionaires keep this biological cheat code hidden from the middle class. He and his brilliant team spent years compressing the clinical protocol for hippocampus growth into a simple audio track. Before I tell you what they built, let me tell you about 2 people who actually used it. Emma was a former nurse from California who felt her family was under a financial curse. She was exhausted and drowning in heavy debt. After just 3 days of listening, she broke the cycle completely. She quit her demanding job and sold her house for way over the asking price. She now travels the world on passive income and shares this massive abundance with her children. Michael was a former policeman in Florida who started using it to scale his struggling business. Within 5 days, he quadrupled his high-paying clients. He rapidly found himself networking with elite billionaires who offered to put him on television. He said the profound journey was almost effortlessly crazy. That is because of what Dr. Summers and his fearless researchers discovered in the lab. They call it the billionaire brainwave. It is not a manifestation app. It is not a generic motivation tape. It is a highly engineered 7-minute binaural sound wave designed to directly stimulate your hippocampus. It pulls your internal wealth receiver completely out of dormancy. That is the entirety of the heavy work required. You listen for 7 minutes in the morning with headphones on and your eyes closed. You do not journal. You do not repeat forced affirmations. You simply let the precise frequency rewire your brain to receive. The billionaire brainwave is absolutely not for everyone. It is for the chosen visionary who has already done the difficult inner work. It is for the architect of destiny who understands that their lack of wealth is simply a blocked biological channel. If your spirit confirms this is for you, then the clear path is waiting below. Private neuroacoustic sessions to reverse a shrunken hippocampus cost hundreds of dollars per hour in a clinical setting. To access this frequency, billionaires invest massive fortunes. What Dr. Summers leaked to the public delivers the exact same neurological shift in only 7 minutes. It is available to you today for a tiny fraction of its true value. It costs less than a few cups of coffee. 4 powerful bonuses are included to support your new reality. You receive a guide called the Warren Buffett Pyramid and a breakdown of 7 lazy millionaire habits. You also get an emergency quick cash manifestation audio and 500 inspiring billionaire success stories. Here is the deeper truth about waiting. The immense wealth and lucrative opportunities you have been praying for are already circling you. The massive blessing is not missing. Your internal receiver is simply broken. The creator who restores their frequency today finally sees the financial windfalls that were always waiting in their path. Delaying your decision means letting your massive inheritance remain completely invisible while you continue to suffer in the survival wave. Do not look for this exact frequency on YouTube or Spotify. The tracks circulating under similar names on those platforms have zero binaural entrainment technology encoded. They are dangerous fakes meant to keep you trapped in a survival wave. The elite billionaires want to distract you with these silent imitations. The only authentic and neurologically active version is available through the link that has been placed in the description and the pinned comment below. This comes with the ironclad promise of a billionaire. The universe requires no financial risk from someone destined for absolute greatness. If you do not experience a physical and undeniable increase in your wealth and luck, every penny is returned. It is an energetic exchange governed by complete trust. The official link is in the description and in the pinned comment below. Secure your access right now before the elite force this underground. The physical tool is not the final destination. It simply repairs your biological receiver so the wealth you visualize can finally materialize in your physical world. Abundance is your birthright, and the universe requires no transaction for you to absolutely deserve it. What the researchers built is just one powerful accelerator. Whether you choose that path or not, let us go deeper into preparing your sovereign mind for the massive opportunities that lie ahead. For the visionary ready to switch their internal wealth receiver on the tool I described earlier remains completely accessible. You can find it waiting for you in the pinned comment below. That is the final time I will mention it today. What remains now belongs entirely to the sealing of your new mindset. The closing of this message is meant strictly for your ultimate mental elevation and the absolute destruction of your old, weak self. You did not click this video by pure accident. You came here as a man exhausted by the relentless drift and tired of playing the victim to unfair circumstances. But today, you have remembered exactly who you are. You are the absolute gatekeeper of your thoughts. From this night forward, you act independently of fleeting motivation. You are a relentless builder in the invisible season and a thundering force of nature. Stand up right now. Claim your heavy throne. You are the sovereign commander of your reality, and the world has no choice but to bend to your disciplined mind. Write your vow in the comments below. Let those powerful words be the unshakable contract you sign with the universe today. Subscribe to this channel if you absolutely refuse to drift. Your new empire begins in this exact moment.